For the case against Karen Reed. She's accused of killing her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, by backing up with her SUV and hitting him and leaving him to die. Now, on the stand is Brian Higgins, and he is going to be cross-examined by Alan Jackson. You should note that he is a pretty famous attorney. He represented Kevin Spacey. He represented Harvey Weinstein. He's now doing the cross-examination of Brian Higgins. Let's listen to that now.
Who did you come here today with, Mr. Higgins?
Who did I travel to the courthouse with?
Who did you meet here?
An attorney, my attorney.
Is there a reason that you felt compelled to bring an attorney with you for your testimony as a witness in a homicide investigation?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Trial, I should say.
Sustained.
You brought your attorney with you who's sitting right behind you, correct?
That is not my attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were his attorney. My mistake. Where's your attorney?
I don't know. He might be in the courthouse.
Is he in the building?
I don't know where he physically is right now.
Okay. Without telling me anything that you said to your attorney, did you meet with him this morning before your testimony?
Yes.
Did you meet with him during the break? In your again, don't tell me what you talked about, but did you meet with him during the break when we took a break a few minutes ago?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And obviously the subject matter, again, without telling me any communication, the subject matter was your testimony here today, correct?
No.
How many conversations have you had with Mr. Lally about your testimony or your proposed testimony in anticipation of you testifying today?
One.
When was that?
That was on Monday.
How long was that conversation?
I would say under an hour and a half.
In person or over the phone?
In person.
Where was that conversation?
That was at the DA's office.
Who else was there?
My attorney, victim witness advocate, I believe her name is Kristen Collins, ADA McLaughlin, ADA Lally, and Lieutenant Brian Tully from the Mass State Police.
Anybody taking notes?
I did not. I don't know if anybody was taking notes.
Well, you were sitting there watching Lieutenant Tully. Did he take notes?
Not that I saw, no.
So you had an hour and a half long conversation with the prosecution team and a police officer witness, and you're telling me that you did not see anybody taking a single note down. Is that right?
That's correct. I did hand something to Lieutenant Tully, but he didn't take any notes in reference to what I handed him.
What'd you hand him?
I handed him a piece of mail that I got at my residence.
Anything having to do with this case?
Well, I believe so.
Was that turned over to Mr. Lally?
No, I turned it over to State Police.
Your Honor, may we approach for a second?
Yes.
Other than that piece of mail that you handed to Lieutenant Tully, was there any other exchange of documents or anything like that? Have you shown anything in anticipation of your testimony?
The only thing I can be recalled showing was a photograph of the exterior of 34 Fairville Road in Canton.
What about the text messages that you just went over extensively? Were you shown those?
I was shown a pile of papers, and I was advised that those text messages were going to be, they were put into another format so they were easier to read.
And these are the screenshots that you just described on the exhibit.
Well, as I said, he showed me the stack, said they were the text messages. They were in a different format, but I'm assuming that's what they were.
What was your assignment with the ATF back in 2022?
I was assigned to the Bridgewater Field Office, but I was full-time with the United States Marshal Service doing fugitive apprehension.
And where were you physically officing out of?
Well, I continue to maintain the office at Canton PD.
Okay. But to be clear, you were a federal officer, not a Canton police officer on some sort of a task force with Canton PD, correct?
No, I was not on a task force with Canton PD.
But you did have an office at Canton PD based on a personal relationship that you had with the chief, correct? He gave you this office as a courtesy. Is that right?
So if I can explain.
Yes or no? Was it provided as a courtesy?
Well, working partnership, I would say.
And you've been asked that specific question in a prior hearing, correct?
Yes.
In June of 2023, right?
Yes.
And you explained, look, there was a personal relationship that I had with Chief Berkowitz.
I did.
It was born out of
tragedy,
a family tragedy that he was aware of.
Horrible tragedy, yes.
And based on that personal friendship and that personal relationship, he offered you the convenience of officing out of Canton PD.
I would say that's a good summary.
And in addition to just having an office there, you also had a key card access, correct?
I did, to get in and out.
What was the name that you used? You said it was a proxy card?
I think it's called, I think in the IT world, it's probably called a proxy card. That's what I know it to be.
So you had both a physical office and full access to Canton PD, all based on the friendship and relationship and convenience. The friendship and relationship you had with Chief Berkowitz and the convenience that he wanted to give you for having that office there, correct?
No, I wouldn't say full access. I had access to certain areas within the department.
Well, you certainly had access to and from your office.
Yes,
You had ingress and egress to the Canton Police Department.
yes,
You could go in and out of the Sally Port.
I could.
You could go upstairs to Chief Berkowitz's office.
Yes,
You could go downstairs to the dispatch area, which is on the first floor, correct?
yes,
And then you could go out to the Sally Port, into the Sally Port, across that garage, those 2 bay doors at your leisure.
well, that would exclude the evidence room, the arms room, and places like that. I didn't have access to those places.
Right. But the places that I just mentioned, you did have access to.
Yes, absolutely.
You'd had that office for what? Back in January of 2022, probably had that office for more than, what, 3 years?
I would estimate probably sometime around 2018.
2018, okay,
Yeah.
not 18 years, 2018.
No, 2018, I'm sorry.
Okay.
My apologies.
So, yeah, maybe close to 4 years.
Yes.
Okay. I want to turn your attention, Mr. Higgins, to January 28, January 29, 2022.
All right, I still have with me Katherine Lozardo, and thank you for staying with us, Katherine. I really appreciate it. One thing I wanted to note here, Alan Jackson came out strong. He was hot. He was attacking. When did you talk to your attorney? Did you talk to him at the break? I mean, he couldn't say what did you talk about, but what do you think about his style?
Yeah, so he came out very aggressively against this witness because he is doing a cross-examination, and that is his style. He knows that this witness is a federal officer, so he's well-versed in in testifying and being cross-examined and questioned. So he wants to probably rattle this witness so that he can get under his skin and get as much information as possible that he needs to defend his client. So it will be very interesting to watch this cross-examination because, again, he's a federal officer, the witness is, and knows how to handle pressure such as a cross-examination like this.
Yep, exactly. You know, it's interesting because I love watching this. I think Brian Higgins held his own, if I might say so myself. He did not get thrown, even though he was attacked. All right, I'm going to have to sign off. Trial attorney Katherine Lozardo, thank you so much for joining us. And stay with us, viewers, because we're going to have Imran Ansari, and he'll be right here. So stay tuned.